Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, guys.
Good morning. I see Jerry and
There's a
Jennifer.
long line at daycare.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
You can? Okay, good.
I wonder, oh, here comes Katie. I sent them all an email a little bit ago, Jen, saying you'd be a few minutes late.
Sorry. The
Hello.
daycare line was like 8.
Hi, Katie.
Katie,
There I am. You have to
We're
click
seeing you.
click all the buttons everywhere.
Hey, what a great shelf arrangement. Oh, look at all that fabulous pottery.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Where'd you get that? At various odd assorted places?
Yes, that is a various odd assorted. I think the blue fish in the middle is from Target. The flower plate to the side of it, Bill's grandmother brought back from Czechoslovakia. The triangle there is one that Marianne painted at one of those paint me pottery places. It's all over the place.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you. How are
Very
you
nice.
doing?
We're all doing fine, I think. Yeah.
we're doing
Yeah.
good.
Don, you guys
Good.
holding up? Is Lexi back to school now? Is she
Virtually, yeah.
virtually?
Every
Yeah.
class.
Virtually.
The district's doing everything they can, and it's really impressive to see all that work going into it. But it's working out pretty well. We had practice last spring, and
Yeah.
with the support of me and Tracy here, she's doing okay.
Well, that's great.
Are you
Yeah.
working from home?
I am probably till the end of the year. They've told us. Yeah.
Wow.
They only allow a certain number of people in the office. I think it's 50 or 60. And so you have to make an appointment to go in, but everybody's been working from home just fine.
Good.
And I apologize. I do have a call that came up at 8:30 too. So I'm going to jump off around 8:25, but we have plenty of time to talk through these first initial ideas.
Yeah.
Not initial ideas, guys. If they determine next week that we're going to get that rabbit, we're going to move that thing. So
Wow.
we
We already
need
have
to-
the crane lined
Well,
up.
we are going to get that out of there as soon as those attorneys figure this out. So this is not a lengthy conversation.
Well, that's good to hear, but I was only speaking to Scott sending out like 6 different alternate sites
Yeah.
yesterday. Okay, I just wanted to be clear that I looked at the first 2 initially, give my thoughts, but then he sent that out yesterday and I thought, well, we have quite a few choices to discuss, but I don't know what the story is on that.
So where's it going, Jerry?
I'm going to
What's the
go see
plan?
if Judy emailed or anything. So you guys continue, start your meeting,
Okay.
do your
Okay.
thing.
I know she was planning to be here because we ran into them in the street walking, and she said, "I'll see you at the meeting." So presumably she'll get here somehow.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll put it wherever we want to put it. And that's what we need to determine, because I really and truly, this has been such a process. Catherine is just frazzled because she wants to see it here, and the opportunity is there. Let's take it.
Absolutely.
So where are we going to put it? Here
Oh,
comes
here she
Judy.
is. There's Judy.
Hey, Judy.
Did you hear us?
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good morning.
I thought I deleted the link and I was panicking, but I finally found it. So
Good.
Great.
Good.
So Judy, where does Earth Rabbit go?
Yeah, where are we going to put this thing?
Grove Park is the perfect spot. Is there? I mean, I think it's too big for the sculpture garden, don't you think?
Not after visiting when I was there again.
Oh, really?
To look. It's definitely a second option. And when I went to Rui Park, glanced around at all the different spots, Jerry, I guess, was the intent to take out the sundial and place it right in the
No,
middle?
apparently not.
It's further down. And
Yeah.
then I'm wondering if it's competing then with like that the circular garden with the sundial. Then you have the flagpole with some formal plantings. I can share some photos that I shot if you'd like.
So then that leaves the sculpture park, right?
Well, no. It's just for discussion.
Yeah.
These are only my initial thoughts when we were down
Right,
two
right.
sites. But let's go through Katie and Jerry and see before we go into specifics. What are your thoughts?
My thought is just get it done.
Well, I happen to love the idea of finally doing something with that last spot at the sculpture garden. What I noticed about that spot is if we put a 14-foot high rabbit there, he's going to be peering through all of those electrical cords because there's 3 major poles there and all the cords come, I mean, obviously they're not cords, what are they called? The lines come in across there. On the other hand, it would be hysterical because he would be like peering down the street, which I think that would be very funny.
Is there anything that can be done about wires? I mean, that's kind of a major deal to put them underground, redirect. Yeah. I mean, I love the idea too of finishing the park. I just assumed that base was too small. But,
So Don, what do you have?
Well, let's go to that section of the park first. Share. Okay, let me know when you can see that.
Ah, there we go.
So it's a 15-foot circle, 3-foot planting in the middle, which I thought was very interesting that we left that for greenery, which is great. The perimeter shrubs are in great shape, but you're right, the taller trees around it now that have grown in so much. And sorry, that's looking the other direction. And then I turned around, and so it would be in the middle of all this lower brush with the 2 taller trees behind the sculpture. But here's what Judy's talking about, are all the wires all over strung above. But this might make a nice backdrop though for it too. So walking across the street, this is the Kirkham cutoff.
Right.
Again, I think it would be positioned right, right in the center of these lower shrubs.
mhm. So there you would get a profile view of the rabbit. It would be directed south, kind of.
Well, what about facing the rabbit east toward the Trova sculpture?
Oh, facing
And
it.
Catherine wants desperately to figure out how to face it.
Yeah, so not the best approach coming from the west, like with Judy
Yeah.
mentioned all the wires, we've got these lower trees, but you start to get a glimpse of, hang on.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for the wires, I would say that would be perfect because basically you would just sort of see the rabbit peeking out from amid that, and you would need something really tall to read behind all the bushes and things.
Mhm.
So how tall is that lowest wire?
Oh, well, I didn't put a tape measure on it, Judy, sorry.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Do we have any sense? Sorry.
It was a
Well,
metal tape
that
measure.
sign must be, what, 8 feet? I mean, a standard street sign is above your head, so
Oh yeah, I would guess at least 20 feet in the air.
20, something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Again,
So I think that might work. Oh.
so this is where it would be nestled, right in here,
Mhm.
under the wires, shrubs to the back, and one pole placed awkwardly right in front. But
Well, and the other thing is, would that interfere with trying to move it in there? I mean, I'm just thinking if you're trying to get a crane in around all those wires,
it's a
It's
great
not
point.
going to need a crane.
really?
Nope. Doesn't, I don't know how it worked, but the Public Works Department from Normandy, 2 people moved that
What?
Huh.
Wow.
out of
Well, maybe that
Normandy.
material is lighter.
Must be lighter because you really don't need a crane.
All right, well,
So
that
here's
makes
my
it easier, I
first
guess.
Question.
There
Yeah.
are these materials you can put underneath it. I know we use this sometimes at the museum and makes things relatively easy to slide. So maybe if you have the right, you can do it that way.
And
Is there-
Catherine,
Is it's a consideration we need to make if someone got on top of it and could reach the wires. I don't know if that's a,
Jerry, you sent the dimensions. Did you had height or a length and width? Did you happen to have a height on it?
It's 13. I
13.
think, oh, it's either 13 or 14.
So you can see Lexi standing on the site. She's 4. That's, yeah, 13 might be this lowest wire here, unfortunately. But we'll have to take a closer look at that.
Yeah.
So let's,
Can wires be made more taut at least? Or, I mean, it might be that if it didn't droop as much, it wouldn't.
I don't know. That's something to consider.
or if it's just that one lower one that needs to be repositioned.
Yeah.
That may not be a big deal through Ameren.
Well, it's not directly over, is it? I mean, from looking at it, and I walk by it every day, but I don't actually remember. I think the circle is actually sort of centered under the angle there of the one set of wires goes this way and the one set goes that way. I don't think there's anything that goes directly across, is there?
No, I think it is slightly offset. You're right, Katie. And if you look at the circle underneath here, this power line, the line of it just skims the right side of that circle. So it would be slightly offset from the wires.
So I'm thinking, I mean, maybe if you used a stick or something, you could reach across, but I'm thinking even if you were standing on this thing, you're probably not going to be able to get over far enough to reach the wires. Although it's a good point. I mean, it's worth considering.
All right. Again, sorry, I have about 10 minutes. But
Okay, so let's do what else you've done.
yeah, and I just quickly went through the signs just for this group here to look at some of the damage and wear. And Judy, you've been asking about this for months, years. But yeah, they are pretty torn up. And Jennifer, I think these are like adhesive. I didn't realize that. I thought it was much stronger than that. But these adhesives are failing. And maybe it's just a matter of getting a metal plate with them. So maybe we can, I think I sent you some information on Fast Sign, was it?
yeah, I've got their information.
And
Because I had the one done for,
yeah, it's not the aluminum plate failing, it's the skin over the top.
Okay.
And maybe they have a better solution for that.
okay.
You can see how it's alligatoring.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then to Rui Park. One other option is to swap old school with the Mongol piece.
That's a good idea.
Hey, that's
When I look at this one, it has more of an industrial look and might look better amongst the wires.
and it's not nearly as tall, right? It's how tall? 11 feet or?
Yeah, I think 10, 11, something like that. That's a
So-
great idea, Don.
Yeah.
So too, I think that's a perfect solution. And I love the fact that you're coming down, going on Kirkham, and that's the first thing you encounter.
You see.
Yeah, yeah. I
Which
think that-
which way would you face him?
well, then I would
That's-
say,
Catherine wants to do that, guys. All right. She wants to face. Let's let her do that.
Give her the pad and she places it. All
She
right.
places it.
Okay. All right. Then we're on to, that's option 2 then. We'll call that 1B. And Rui Park is beautiful. I mean, it really is a nice
It is
setting.
beautiful.
And this is from up the hill. Now, the first thing, our first impression was lack of parking. You just can't get to this park unless you're a neighbor and you're walking there. So that's number 1. And then number 2 was thinking if it was placed in the center of this, it kind of destroys that whole park. But if it's off to the side, it becomes less important. So this being right in the middle of that rose garden, very formal presentation. That's where I started, up on the hill there. And if it's not in the circle, then you're off here to the side. And you have the flagpole to consider, larger trees, a little bit more difficult to place
Mhm. It seems odd there. I mean, to me, as I
Yeah.
look at it, I think I guess that pad, the east pad, seems so perfect that to me, I don't think we need to look further.
All right. Judy sold. Anyone else? What are the other thoughts?
So we're talking then about maybe moving the Evan Lewis down and putting the rabbit where the Evan Lewis is, or are we talking about?
That to me seems the perfect solution. Yeah, that's what I was
I like
talking
it.
about.
I like it.
I just think I mean, as I look at this now, the rabbit is going to just not work. It's an add-on that doesn't sort of just enhance the park, where on that pad coming into the park, it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's a nice big statement on Kirkham again,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
you know.
And I can't believe people aren't, I mean, that the bird is such a popular thing already that to have the rabbit there too is just going to be super, I think, for people.
So that's what we want to do.
Yes, I agree.
You know, there's another piece that she has done, the jazz piece, and they're talking about there's some, well, that should go in Clayton, but then I've heard, well, maybe you could have it. So if we ended up with that, should we take it?
Absolutely.
The home of the jazz festival. I just can't believe
Yes.
that.
We were already
Yeah.
brainstorming on sites, maybe in Old Webster or
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Even if Eden took it, it has a wonderful positive racial component to it because it's black and white musicians, and it's a cool piece. So we should see if we can get that too.
Yeah,
that would be
absolutely.
awesome.
You know,
Okay.
not that we desperately need to fill it, but there is a pad that's now empty at Eden where Webster Arts had one of those community sculpture things that we had for a couple of years, and then it went away. That little thing that looked like a spigot. Sorry, that was probably mean to the artist. But so there is actually a pad there that we could put something on, depending on how big it was.
This thing is 13 feet across, so it needs a pad. It's huge.
That might need a bigger pad.
It needs a bigger pad than the spigot. Yeah, but we could, that'd be cool at Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be
That
great,
would
and
We'd go
might
for
even
it.
be fun in front of the Lohr Library,
Mm.
That would be fun, where people
Yeah.
could see it, really.
where people could really
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. Right. Be great.
And if you think that's a great idea, let me see, because I might get Webster University to offer up that spot, and that might put a little pressure on them to give it to us.
Right.
Mhm.
That would
Okay.
be awesome.
Okay,
That would
we'll
be
give that a try today.
As far as the sculpture garden, I still have those old plans. I can kind of sketch on there what our thoughts are from moving
Mhm.
Old School. Is that right? And then the new site for Catherine's piece. I'll be glad to put a little sketch together on that.
I mean, when we installed that originally, did we have any discussion with the artist or about where we were putting? I mean, there's no expectation on his part that not move, right? Just to be sure.
I don't think so. I think it would be fine.
No, it might just be a question of informing him, but I didn't really know whether he cared or even knew where it is. So
Yeah,
okay.
that's a
I
good
mean,
idea.
it's perfect for them.
He did come for the installation, and so I don't know what's underneath that, because we have to figure that out, how that's anchored.
Mhm.
Gang, I've got to jump. I apologize, but certainly don't need to hang up. I'll talk to you all soon.
Good to see you, Don. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thanks
Sure
for the
thing.
photos.
You're
That's
welcome.
great.
Bye-bye.
Great.
Great. So
Okay.
what do you think?
Oh, I think that's fabulous. I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
Good. Good.
right? I just think that livens that up when you come in. Yeah, and because also old school, as you come that way, just thinking, I think it'll have a bit better contrast because when you come in, it's not so clear. You don't see it quite as obviously, or I think, you know what I'm saying? Where I think if you look against it, I'm talking about people going south. So maybe that's not obviously the only traffic pattern, but the rabbit will be so bold and very clear as a kind of welcoming figure. So I think it's great.
I have one thought. Do we need to consider the lighting? Because the lighting, I think, was designed for the pieces, correct?
Partially for the pieces, partially in the trees.
I mean, the
I've-
rabbit probably like size and height wise isn't
Mhm.
that different than the,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we might have to do some adjustment there.
Yeah, it might just be an angle thing or.
I don't ever think the lighting is that. Um, what shall I say? I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
I don't ever go down there at night, so I don't know.
All right, you two who live by there, Judy and Katie, do you ever notice the lighting?
Yes, but I don't, yes, I mean, I agree with you about it. There are lights.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I really pay as much attention at night. When I look at it, it's when I'm walking also. I think we can adjust. I mean, the lighting isn't, I remember when we had our lighting ceremony, I mean, it isn't like we have these very strong spotlights that really sort of make it bright. So I don't know that that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So what sort of time frame, Jerry, since you want to do it right away, can it?
I don't know. See, what I'm trying to do, I know this has been, it's been a lot of phone calls, a lot of trying to figure this out, who actually owns the piece. And what we've discovered is the piece is actually owned not by UMSL, because UMSL formed a separate 501c something or the other with 3 people. And that little organization actually owns the pieces, the 2 pieces. Well, there were 3 people on that board, 2 of whom are gone. So the only one who's left on that board is Betty Van So I've been talking a lot with Betty after trying to get through to her because all of her voicemails, everything was blocked, closed, whatever. So talking with her, and finally, she's the one who talked about, I guess she didn't even realize that the 501, whatever it is, owned it. So they have a lawyer now, and our lawyer and their lawyer are trying to figure out the arrangement, the legal arrangement. They're trying to loan it to us for 2 years. I am suggesting to Neil that let's at least get 3 years out of them. I mean, this is too much trouble to move that for just 2 years. So we'll see where that goes. And then in the meantime, there's that jazz piece that's sitting out there and people are saying, oh, it needs to go in Clayton. And then no, maybe not. So we'll see what we can finagle out of them. So it's all finagling.
Cool.
That's where we are. So the 2 attorneys are apparently talking to try to put some sort of legal agreement together. Catherine went to Normandy to view the piece to make sure that it was still in good condition. There's a new mayor in Normandy and he wants it out of there. So all these pieces are out there. And to me, the sooner we can get it out and here, the happier we'll all be.
Yeah, right.
So, because it would be tragic to get this far and then find something that doesn't work.
But still, there is some expense in moving it and installing it, and that's okay. We have that money in the budget.
We're going to do that in-house.
Oh, so that's fully, but there, we have the kind of truck that we'll need and all that. So we don't need-
Apparently, because apparently the Public Works folks did it for the piece, taking it from Grand Center to Normandy. So we're going to figure that out in-house. We'll figure it out. They'll be all right.
Mhm.
I think Yvonne will oversee that.
Mhm.
Well, maybe Catherine would come and help oversee that too.
Oh, I think so.
Oh, but yeah, if she's gonna place
Well,
it.
she's got to say which way to turn it anyway. but-
Oh, yeah. She is very excited. There's an emotional attachment to that piece.
Mhm, mhm.
Because of some other things in her life. There's a very emotional attachment to it. So she's so excited about having it in a place where people can see it and she can see it. So
Yeah. Oh, I think it's going to be fabulous. I think that's great.
And thank you, Jerry, so much for really,
Oh,
I mean, wow.
Mhm, Yeah.
For
yeah.
a year now you've been
Better
working
than
on this. This is fantastic.
it just takes whatever. No, let's get it. That's all we care about. Let's get it here.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It is
yeah.
perfect. It's a perfect place and it's a perfect piece. So,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
with your kind of agreement, I'll go to work on that jazz piece too, and see
Right.
what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which would be cool. We can get the university to put that in front of Lohr Library.
That's great. Great. Oh, that's wonderful. All right. Well, I have to go too, but this is exciting.
Are you at the museum now, or are you working at home?
I work remotely 100% of the time now. So yeah, the mayor had encouraged anybody who could work at home should work at home. And policy is everybody who can work remotely must put in a day at the museum. But because of my age, I qualify to work remotely full time. So yes, finally being old pays off. So.
Is that okay with you?
It is. I do miss colleagues. I really am very fond of the people I work with, but it's, I'm enjoying it. I mean, David and I, used to never see each other during the week. We have lunch together every day and, it works well for what we do. So yeah, I can work very well in my study. So yeah, I mean, it's weird, but it's okay.
It's okay.
And we
Good.
run into Katie and Bill on many of our more constitutional, so that's also nice. So, yeah.
And Katie, you're doing okay?
Yeah.
And how's Mary Ann?
She's settled as far as we know. Long as Clemson stays afloat, I guess she's okay. So
Good.
yeah.
So she's starting her doctorate program there.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so, yeah, you haven't heard. I mean, it's crazy what's going on in campuses.
Yes.
It is crazy. Fortunately, most of her time is spent at an off-campus research facility, which they have to have special clearance to go to. And so, it's not quite on campus, but she did send me a text the other day to say that everybody got sent home because the power went out. And when she said, oh, the power went out, and everybody else who's been there on an ongoing basis says, oh, it's the snakes. The what?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently the snakes crawl in where the electrical lines come in and then they short out.
Thank you. That's a thing you have to know before you make it.
That wasn't on my list of things to worry about.
That's right. So, so it's warmth or something that appeals to them there?
I don't know.
Wet.
Apparently it ends very badly for the snake. But
Yeah,
it also
right.
short out the power to the whole building, and everybody else is just like, well, we might as well go home because they got to get that cleaned up.
Wow.
Life goes
Okay.
on. Whoa.
Life goes on for everybody but the
Bye,
snakes.
Judy.
All right, see ya. So we'll meet next month, right? Soon.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah,
not
so
meeting
we gonna meet
Tuesday. We're
Tuesday, or
gonna
are we
maybe
gonna-
see when this all hammers out, or
Do we want to just send out an email to everybody and say, we're in process on this and we'll
That's what I was thinking of doing.
push
I
it
was
back
gonna
till
do today.
October? I mean, that works for me.
Great.
Yeah, and we'll just, I can't imagine that anybody in the group will be offended if we figure out where this thing goes without the permission of the Arts Commission,
Well, I
so,
think that was the purpose of you guys meeting, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so we can
Hey,
send
and
some.
looking one notch farther forward than that, I realized that we're supposed to be meeting on Election Day again in November.
Yeah,
Which-
it's probably a bad idea.
I mean, again, it doesn't really matter, particularly since we're probably still going to be remote, but do we want to think about, I don't know, meeting in October and then not meeting in November or moving it to I mean, that's something to think about. We don't have to make that decision now, but
No.
Okay.
but that's going to be I mean, we're all going to be strung out.
And we
God.
I'm already in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened yet.
Our Iranian friends have said they had to escape the revolution in Iran and come to the US. Now they think they're going to have to escape to Canada.
No kidding. But good luck to them because they're arresting people at the border.
Who are trying to get into Canada with the COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, what a horrible time we're in.
Still,
Yeah.
I think this is all being recorded. I probably shouldn't.
Is this recorded, Jen?
I'll pause the recording.
Thank you.